Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, continuing with the mostly sunny skies this morning, and our temperatures just about hitting freezing at this point. And we'll stay fairly chilly as we move through the remainder of the day, as we do have some slightly breezy winds expected. But overall, should see fairly quiet weather as we move through today, and we'll see a rebound in temperatures as we go into Saturday. We will see our next weather maker moving through the area as we get into the day on Sunday. It looks more likely we're going to see some rain showers in the area, possibly transitioning to some snow later in the day, but it does look like the trend is towards less in the way of accumulation with that snowfall, and generally mostly a rain event with some colder temperatures on the backside. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we have high pressure centered to our south. We're going to see that moving eastward. It's going to bring in some west-southwesterly to southwesterly flow as we move through the next day or two. Well off to the west, we see this area of low pressure is going to be tracking eastward, and it's going to be bringing in a cold front supported by an upper level trough into the region as we get into the day on Sunday. And along that's where we'll see a weak area of low pressure try to develop off the coast, and that will be the focal point of where we see some precip activity moving into the area for Sunday. If we take a look at the current current visible satellite, do have some mid-level clouds building in off to the west. Still mostly sunny here in the local area. Do expect mostly sunny conditions as we move through much, if not all, of the working hours today, and we'll start to see some of that mid-level cloud building in as we move into the overnight time frame. We'll look at the high-resolution model for the weekend forecast here, and as mentioned, we have seen a trend with the latest modeling towards more of a rain solution as we get into Sunday. But for now, as mentioned, as we go through the day today, we'll see quiet weather, slightly breezy winds, and we'll keep a slight breeze out of the south-southwest as we move through the overnight time frame, but no precipitation expected. We'll see an increase in the cloud cover as we move into our day on Saturday, and Saturday does look to be mostly cloudy. We'll see a very slight chance of passing light sprinkle on Saturday, but that would be a more likely chance at areas north. But you can see generally pretty dry on the model here, but can't rule out that light sprinkle possibly. Fairly minimal chance of that. It wouldn't be anything too impactful. We'll see partly to mostly cloudy skies overnight into the morning on Sunday as clouds build in once again ahead of this trough digging into the area. And you'll see here getting into the later morning time frame, this particular model still looking fairly dry. Can't rule out seeing some light rain moving into the area during the late morning. And as mentioned, does look like we'll see those temperatures above freezing, so going to struggle to see any of that transitioning into snow until we get some of that cooler air moving in later in the day. But you'll see this model has trended much drier with the precip holding off until the afternoon time frame and then transitioning to some light snow. But the overall precip totals do look fairly low, so that's going to help to dampen any accumulating snow. Additionally, with those warmer temperatures earlier and the potential for the rain starting earlier in the day, it's going to wet the surfaces and make any accumulation challenging. So it does look like we'll see less in the way of accumulation, most likely less than an inch as we move with this system during the day on Sunday. But on the backside of that, we will see some colder temperatures moving in as we zoom out and look at the European model as that departing system moves away. We do have that trough settling in and those lower thickness values settling in over the area, bringing in some slightly breezy and colder conditions as we move into the start of next week. We will see slightly breezy conditions continuing through Monday, but then high pressure starts to set up over the area. It's going to keep things cold, but we'll relax those winds a bit as we move through the middle portion of the week. But overall, things are looking dry and fairly quiet as we move through the first half of next week. And as we get into the second half, we'll start to see that high pressure moving off to the east. Once again, some southerly component to the wind ahead of another boundary potentially moving into the area as we get into the later portion of the week. Still some spread in the modeling on this, but does look like we could see a chance for some rain shower activity moving through mid to late day on Thursday, but we'll narrow that down as we approach closer to that event. So looking at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, we're looking at green conditions as we move through the next 24 hours. There's slightly breezy winds. Going to weaken a bit as we move into the afternoon and turn more west-southwesterly to eventually southwesterly. We'll see peak gusts this afternoon about 18 knots, and we'll see our high temperature peaking around 38 degrees. Those wind chill values for the afternoon will drop down into the 20s. And then as we go into the evening time frame, that's when we'll start to see that mid-level cloud building in, becoming mostly cloudy. We'll keep that slight breeze out of the south-southwest. We'll see our temperatures bottom out around 33 degrees early in the evening. Then that south-southwesterly breeze is going to keep things in the mid-30s as we move through the rest of our evening into early Saturday morning. Again, you're going to see those mid-level clouds building in through the overnight time frame, and we'll start off mostly cloudy as we get into the start of the day on Saturday. Tides are running normal. Saturday forecast, mostly cloudy, very slight chance of that light sprinkle passing through the area. We'll see a milder day with that southerly flow. Going to see a yellow risk for winds that are above 25 knots as we do have expect some slightly breezy conditions through today, but our milder temperature will peak around 52 degrees. We'll see a somewhat mild evening through the evening Saturday night with partly to mostly cloudy conditions as that next system approaches. We'll see a very slight chance of light rain by sunrise, but should see that holding off until the day on Sunday. So we're keeping green conditions through the Saturday evening time frame, and we'll see our low temperature around 36 degrees, as you'll note, above freezing. So as any precip moves through, will likely start off as rain. As we get into Sunday, we'll have that good chance of some rain showers, potentially by late morning. If things continue to trend drier, could see that moving in later, but expecting generally some light rain showers in the area by late morning, and then the potential for a transition to some snow during the mid to later afternoon time frame as some of that cooler air starts to catch up. We'll see a high temperature of 40 degrees during the first part of the day, and then those dropping temperatures as we get later in the day. We'll see some slightly breezy conditions, but do expect that to stay below wind advisory criteria. Main risk will be that orange risk for that precip moving through, and the potential for some reduced ceilings of visibilities with that precip and any later snowfall, reduced visibilities later in the day. But again, does look like we'll see less than an inch of accumulation with this as the system continues to trend drier, and we continue to have struggling to get those temperatures cold enough to transition to snow until later in the evening. And those warmer surfaces and wet surfaces will have a hard time accumulating a lot of snow on that. As we look at the extended forecast here, as mentioned, getting into Monday, we'll move into a drier and fairly quiet weather pattern and mostly sunny conditions for Monday. We'll see our high temperatures back up to around 40 degrees after a chilly evening. We'll see some slightly breezy conditions on Monday, so it's going to make things feel a bit cooler, but that breeze should settle down as we move into Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have a colder day on Tuesday as that cold high pressure settles in. We'll struggle to get above freezing for our Tuesday high, but then we'll be back to around 40 degrees as we get into Wednesday. As we get more of a southerly flow ahead of that next front that moves into the area, will gradually warm up, more seasonable as we get into the day on Thursday, and increasing clouds, and that's when we'll see that chance of some rain showers around the area. Again, still some uncertainty with that, so keeping about a 25% chance of precip for Thursday, and we'll see that evolve as we get closer to the event. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again on Tuesday at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.